Good morning. This is Maria Quattrone with Be the Solution podcast. And it is my belief that we should live our lives providing values to others by being the solution. Purpose is to teach others how to be the solution. And our goal is to help our listeners own their own solution. Our mission is to inspire people to become a problem solver. And our vision is to change the way that people think. What if everybody lived their life by being the solution? What would the world look like? Good morning, Chris Summers. Welcome on December 23rd, 2020. Great to see you.
Good morning. It is early, Maria. Great to see you. You look awesome. I love the optimism early in the morning, and I love the solution and being the solution.
Yeah, great. We got to get our day started on a high note. So what better way to start it by being the solution and having you on this morning? So, Chris, why don't you tell us a little bit about your journey into the real estate world and how you got to how you got in and how you've grown your business over the last, I guess, couple decades now.
Well, I mean, like everyone else, Maria, I guess everyone has their story, right?
Yes, and I love to hear it.
Yeah. So, I guess it's always interesting. You never know what could happen next, like with the butterfly effect kind of thing, right?
Yes.
So, back in the day, we're kind of going through a weird time now, but another weird time was the financial crisis, or not the financial crisis, the internet bubble. I'm getting a little
2001.
So, in the internet bubble, my prior profession, I was a stockbroker, financial consultant, and I tell you that was a tough time. A lot of equity lost, a lot of things all over the place, and that industry was starting to be disrupted, right? So, I just couldn't do it anymore. It just wasn't working. And then there was a period of time where got depressed, didn't really know what I was going to do, what's happening. And, a friend of mine is like, Chris, why don't you get into real estate? So it wasn't even like Chris and saying, I'm going to go into real estate. There's so many like young professionals now, they're going to college and taking courses, they're doing this and boom, that's their goal. And that's great. But really, Maria, I kind of like backdoored in it. And it worked. It was like serendipity. Because I really enjoyed it. I had the sales skills, of being a stockbroker, smile and dial, call and dial, whatever it is.
That makes so much sense, Chris.
Yeah, I was hungry. And I really enjoyed working with people. And then, one thing, led to another. I mean, I can kind of go through the steps, but not a lot of people know how I kind of got in the real estate. So I'm glad you asked that question.
Your success came even before in the real estate industry. So I was doing the same thing, smile and dial and calling people to sell advertising for 11 years. So a lot of door knocking, right?
Yeah, I mean, your thing is about business and be the solution, and entrepreneurial. And I think one of the best parts of real estate or any profession, is that ability to just grow and put in as much as you want, and it can take you, as far as you want. But a lot of people think, that it's just real estate, But if you think about it, the person knows the agreement of sale inside and out better than anyone in the world. What if they don't have any clients? It doesn't matter. So I think our profession, people forget, that, primarily, it's relationships, people skills, combined with obviously, knowing as much as you can, about negotiation, real estate, everything. If you combine those two, that entrepreneurial spirit, those are the people in my mind, like yourself, obviously, that can kind of take that to next levels. And that's going to be the case in really any industry too, tech, biotech, your prior sales position and so forth.
Right. It's all about number one, building the relationships, but building your brand. And, something I admired about you going back, quite some time now is what you've done in social media. I mean, you were, I thought, one of the first people who were really attacking social media back in, I don't know how long that was. It's a while ago though. How did you do that?
Well, I think one thing that we learned very quickly, and when I say we, my best recruit, obviously, was my wife, Stephanie Summers. So, I can't take credit for everything, maybe really nothing, because, she came up with the idea of, the summersteam.com, kind of just being as innovative as we could. And back then, I think I might have saw you, I don't remember, at some Inman Connect conferences over the years, so, we just dove in where we could, and, went to every real estate conference that really talked about innovation, being ahead of the curve. Like I remember, when the CEO of Zillow, was there, I don't know, 15 years ago, the guy was on stage, doing this. I remember seeing Gary Vee. It was probably one of his first times, speaking, at a conference. I'm like, who is this kid?
Yeah.
But my jaw started to drop. And then, since then I read all his books. I remember seeing, I think I saw Barbara, obviously, great branding, at one of these conferences too. And her public speaking was incredible. But to answer your question, we just dove in and then just started to implement things. I think sometimes people just try to implement too many things. And whenever we went to a conference, we're like, let's just focus on one thing, which really led to two or three. But then I think what really started to happen, Maria, is, as I'm getting older, the financial crisis came. We were already doing business, kind of growing a little bit, but no one really kind of started to know us. And that was the time where kind of what you're doing with your podcast, and congrats, with all your episodes and high level, speaking. It really helps to kind of get your name and your brand out there. But during that time, we were blogging all the time. We were doubling down on marketing expenses when other realtors and whatnot weren't doing anything in that financial crisis. I don't know if you recall that. I'm sure you were doing some things.
I recall it, 2008. I saw it coming for 2 whole years. I'm sure you did too.
Yeah, those were tough years, but, instead of being scared, hunkering down, or not doing anything, we saw some things that were working. And, we kind of doubled up our marketing expenses, or in a lot of those cases, the beautiful thing about social media and blogging and doing things, sometimes it's just time. It's a lot of time investment, where you kind of have, the commitment. And no one was doing short sales in Philadelphia. No one knew how to do a short sale. I don't know if you do, it was crazy. And then, foreclosures were happening, and we're writing blogs about, Philadelphia short sales. So if someone went to Google and they typed in Philadelphia short sale, well, chances are they might have saw a few of our blogs. And then, helping the consumers navigate through those cases where they found us. I mean, those were some of the most horrendous deals to work on, in terms of time and, dealing with the banks and trying to get the short sale approval letters. But, when they came, it was doing the dance in the office, and those people were so happy to kind of get out of those situations. Kind of going off tangent there, but, it kind of just gets back to that, that oomph, that grit to kind of maybe do something where some other people are not. And then when you do that, typically good things happen to follow.
Well, that business is certainly a tough nut to crack, short sales, but it's very rewarding because you really are solving a problem, being the solution for somebody, and not a lot of people can do it, or choose not to do it, maybe, or maybe they can't do it either. But I mean, that is a testament to really living by the high level standards of integrity and for being a solution provider.
Yeah, I mean, be the solution is key. And, maybe, we have, great listings back then where, we started to do video marketing. A lot of people weren't doing video marketing during the financial crisis and subsequent to that, but we did it with our short sale listings too. I'm not saying that we're short sale specialists by any means. It was just something that was happening at that time where we became short sale specialists. And I think with our market, it's just good to be nimble and whatnot. I mean, today, we're very active as you are, in new construction sales, the neighborhoods that are doing amazing with, kind of development, redevelopment, and kind of being connected there. I think it's just great, driving down a street and having like the before and after in your head. Sometimes the visuals are great, but like knowing that you were a catalyst or a significant catalyst, in improving that block, improving the neighborhood. It's not all about money. People are like, yeah, it's money. No, it's not. It's about, the improvements that happen and being involved with that, through the community, your clients, giving back where you can. And I've just learned over the years, if you do good things, good things happen. That's the byproduct. I think, financial, whether it's income, sales, owning real estate. I love what Alan Dom talks about too, for the people that are in real estate. You make your money selling real estate, but you build wealth owning real estate.
You certainly do. Do you own a lot of rental properties, Chris?
We do. We sold, a few over the years just to kind of move it around and, pay Uncle Sam. It's like, hey, all right, let's sell a property, pay Uncle Sam. But, my wife and I, we still have, maybe around, at least 15 properties. Some are multifamilies. So, the number of units combined, might be over 20, give or take. And we're constantly, no, I shouldn't say constantly, because it takes time, doing some, buying, renovating, and selling. Some of that can be seen, shameless self-promotion on theSummersTV.com,
SummersTV.com.
Yeah, we got a little channel, Flipping in Philly. You should go on. It's fun.
I will.
Yeah, see some videos.
That's awesome. How long have you had that?
Oh, that's a good question, because sometimes I could barely remember 6 months ago, but we've had that for several years. So we have like, some content, on there from, the past with like lifestyle videos, and then videos that we did, for, renovations and sales, and then, just like your regular, property videos. Obviously today, Maria, more people in our industry are doing that. Same thing, with social media. So it's a little bit harder these days to differentiate yourself. Back then, you were too, kind of like, being, at the forefront, certainly kind of gave one an advantage. So I think it's always important. Hey, what advantage, can, whatever business that you're in as an entrepreneur, with a social media strategy or digital media, what can I do? And you doing the podcast is great. Maybe some other people might, be doing some other things. It's always just good to try to be a visionary as much as you can, or maybe just be one step ahead, of your peer. Or there's nothing wrong with being a little bit behind, and then you can always catch up real fast. What you don't want to be is like way behind, because it's like, the turtle, can only catch up so much. You know what I mean?
Well, you see that too. You see some people are not really prescribing to the new way of, it's not just in real estate, it's marketing in general. I mean, video is at the forefront because it's like it's TV. We're on TV right now.
Which is cool. I hope I don't. People rag on me because I say curse words sometimes, even as president of GPAR. So I'm going to try to do my best, and not say anything wacky or a curse word. But no, I think the beauty about that, Maria, as you know, is like, this type of marketing or branding or whatever you want to call it, and that's the case for any entrepreneur business, and what they have, is evergreen. Stephanie did an amazing kind of like first time home buyer video series, and it's like, in 7 or 8 parts. That's something that we could send, to anyone, and some people might be more in tune, for episode 4, that might be, where they can be. People on our team, can, utilize that content. People can go to Google and maybe just find that content organically. So the beauty about, this type of marketing, in my opinion, it's not, spending, $5,000 and going into Philadelphia style. I don't mean to say that, or any print ad, where it's kind of one and done, or maybe you get like a little digital thing, but this type of marketing is, is evergreen, and it's powerful. Kind of being strategic and, how, where you take it in terms of the marketing presence. And, that's why, reading, books from like Gary, I can never pronounce his last name, Vaynerchuk, I just call him Gary V. It's those types of strategies that we started to adopt, I should say, I was about to say years ago, but really more than a decade ago, that, still, instilling today.
I always loved his energy. He says to put out like he tells you to put out like some ridiculous, like 10 pieces of content a day.
No, man, the guy is a wild man. But if you think about it, to get the results that you're looking for takes time. And it takes commitment. I think you were telling me before we came on, like how many podcasts have you done this year and how many are you doing next year? I don't mean to throw a question back at you.
Yeah, no. So I did about 90 this year. I'm committed to 100 next year, but I probably will get, I'm thinking about 125.
Yeah, I mean, and that's powerful. And obviously that takes time, that takes commitment, that takes planning. And I think kind of like with not maybe people just in real estate, but in other businesses, maybe they start to adopt a strategy, right? And they don't see any results in 1 week, 1 month. And they're like, this sucks. I'm not doing this anymore. It's like, the newer agent hosting an open house. And you're like, oh, only one person came through. This doesn't work, and like anything else, it's that time commitment, and maybe something might not be the right thing. But I think people have to go through the process, be committed to something, try it, give it X amount of time or whatever that budget is or the time budget. Chances are it will work. But I think the difference between the people that maybe are the solution, and the ones that give up can definitely be the solution, but they just might give up a little too quickly. Or maybe they're not surrounding themselves with people, that can motivate them a little bit more or kind of give them, that optimism. Hey, just keep going. Just keep doing what you're doing. You're going to see the results. Do you see that happening with some people sometimes?
I do. I think, I think sometimes even ourselves, we probably do it. I mean, I said, oh, I'm doing all this. I did 300 videos this year. I said, so that's a lot of content, but that doesn't mean, and anyone that's listening to this, that it's going to work this year. You have to think about it like this, right? And Chris, I know you'll agree with this. I was thinking about our marketing budget for next year and what our spend is. That's all done, put to bed, but how then we're going to deploy it. And I was thinking, because we did some things this year I didn't believe we got the return on, and I was kind of disappointed. And plus, a lot of things in 2020 were disappointing. Nonetheless, I said to myself, well, how many more years, God willing, am I going to be in the real estate industry? And you got to think about it in the long haul. You got to say, I'm going to be in this 20 more years or 15 or 25, however many years you choose. And you got to look at it and say, okay, I might not get the impact this year. I might not even get the impact next year. But I guarantee you, and you know this, Chris, because you've done and you stay consistent, that eventually that vein will pop and it'll go.
I love that. Can you do that? And not for nothing, like, again, we saw that, like, during that financial crisis time. And I think something like that might be happening maybe a little bit more now. Like I was on CNBC this morning, there was a guy on there saying housing inventory is like the lowest it's ever been. And you know what? And that is the case nationally, but every little local market has its own pocket. Like I think the market is already starting to turn a little bit. Yeah, and maybe not in a bad way. Maybe it's just a more stable market, but it's challenging. And I think I don't want to say anything negative about discount brokers or fill in the blank, but the value of that realtor, who goes the extra mile for client service, representation, advocacy, for the sellers who provide the high level marketing, the video marketing, a few extra things to give properties more exposure, similar back to the financial crisis, is going to come back into play at some point. When that market shifts, your value, the people that do this day in and day out, value is going to go up. And so the opportunity for the people is now to really kind of get ahead of the game. It's not going to be maybe as easy as putting something on the market, in the burbs it is right now. You get multiple offers, and you look like a rock star, and that's great when that happens. But
yeah, it's like, that's great. It's sold in a day.
Yeah, a million offers. You sold it too fast.
I saw somebody's post. I had 150 offers, and I'm thinking, well, it's not really you. Remember, it's your client's house, and it's the buyer's demand on that house. I see sometimes we take, as real estate people, things like we did something miraculous. It's their house. It's the buyers who get to decide if they want that property, and they're choosing to want properties right now in the suburbs more than they do in the city.
Yeah, for now. I think that's going to change. But for now, that's the trend for now, and that's okay.
Short sighted both ways, right, Chris?
Yeah. Yeah.
They'll be short sighted when it goes back into like we have a more normal city mood, and they'll be back. It works both ways. So
yeah, believe me, when people can go to park on a normal day, Barclay Prime, I'm here in Fishtown, tons of amazing restaurants, like literally right out my door.
You have so many amazing,
are back up and open. People are going to want to be back here in a heartbeat. But it will take some time to get there. But I kind of like what you said too. And one thing I learned many years ago, in real estate is sometimes, we like, to be the hero. The hero, we're the hero. And maybe in some cases, we might be. But I forget the guy's name. It's like Don something. He wrote a book called like Building a Story Brand. Again, saw it at a conference. And I'll just throw in a plug for the marketing company that we've been using for years, Curator. They have like an amazing conference year in and year out, some great speakers. But he would always talk about that our profession, is to be the guide, and obviously the client is the hero. We're like Yoda, helping someone, get to where they need to be, at the finish line. We're like that really important character in the movie that's not the main character, but like that, not the Luke Skywalker guy, but the guy training him, to learn about the Force and get him to the finish line. So I think if people start to remember that a little bit, that might kind of help them with their bigger picture mentality. And then, the commitment, to like don't give up too soon. Don't give up before the miracle happens, because you're right. Like once things start to happen, well, then you could really double down on what's working, triple down on what's working, and so forth. And then, more referrals come in, repeat business, but it takes some time to get there. You hear me do all these reference to books and whatnot. And I think be the solution. Oftentimes I think self-development is like super important. Although my wife, Stephanie, will rag on me sometimes. She's like, Chris, you got to apply a little bit more from what you read, right? And she's right. Because sometimes I've had to do less reading and more execution. But Darren Hardy wrote a book called The Neptune Effect. I don't know if have you read that one?
Yeah, the Neptune or the compound?
The compound effect. The compound effect. You can see I'm getting old. But I love the analogy, where if you do like a couple little things, boom, 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 and here's your graph. It's kind of going steady. And then here's the other person who's like maybe not doing too much. But initially, everyone's like on the same path. But at some point, the person who's showing up every day, making phone calls every day, doing podcasts all year, doing video marketing, having a database, following up with it. At some point, it's probably not too long. That chart goes like this, where that person's business just multiplies. And then the other person that's not really doing too much, like steady Eddie, starts to go like that, and it's pretty powerful. It's almost like, for the person that smokes cigarettes every day. Okay, nothing wrong, health problems, boom. Where the other person, who's healthy, they're going to the gym, whatever, it's a very powerful read. And I think it shows that those little things done over time, whatever they might be, can achieve amazing results. And it's not that complicated. Like I get called in, what's the secret? Well, there really is no secret. Show up, do what you do best, have fun, and work hard.
You are on the same page. I was just about to mention the compound effect, so I'm glad that you brought that up, because It's literally something I talk about with the agents, business people, anybody that wants to listen all the time. And I make like this little thing. I always have a pen and paper, right? I do this little drawing, Chris, and I make little lines, right? Little lines, little lines, little lines, little lines. And then all of a sudden that little line is like an entire page long. And that's what's happened to your business or to your skill set over just a tiny little increment every single day. So people say, oh, how did you do this or that? And I said, well, I've only been practicing it for 24 years, 26 years, whatever, in the sales industry. I said, it didn't happen overnight. I just didn't pop up, right? So if everybody can just think like, what can I do every single day consistently? And you build that momentum, right?
I love that. And, I'm glad, that it's a good reminder for all. It's a good reminder, for me, that, we've kind of been doing some things pretty good this year, but we certainly could be doing a few things, better too, and to have that kind of reinforcement or those reminders. I like to read, a self-development book, like once a month. But I've been a little bit behind on that. But it kind of like empowers me to kind of keep going. And I think people, and you're right, people always look at the end result, oh, it's so easy, but not for nothing. Like, I like, here's another book, Relentless, where it was written by the trainer, for Kobe Bryant, Dwayne Wade. I'm not sure if he did LeBron a little bit or not, and it really kind of dove into those, like what those guys did, in practice, in their workouts. Maybe not Allen Iverson, but I love Allen Iverson. But I'm sure he did his practice too. He grew up in this kind of the same area that I did, just throwing that in there. But anyway, but all that stuff, it's the same thing. Those guys are out there shooting an hour, before the workouts. They're in the gym day in and day out, and obviously, as a result, they went to Superman level. And I think the sports analogies, you hear it all the time, but people forget they only see that end product. Michael Jordan. Yeah, he trained Michael Jordan. So like, what he did, with his work ethic day in and day out, all season and so forth. I mean, it's inspiring, but people forget they just see, all the NBA rings, but that didn't come from just doing nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they didn't pop out of the womb as a basketball player. They learned, and they forget how many Michael Jordan did. I've read that. And that was like a baffling amount of times he took shots that he missed.
Yeah. Yeah, if you want to get inspired, just Google Michael Jordan quotes and you'll see that quote. I took 50 game-winning shots and made 5 or something, but, he just kept doing it, or Steve Jobs is a great example too, or, his quotes and, changing the world and, his ethic, and the list goes on and on, so, successful people don't just, you're right, just kind of just get born out of the womb and, they're successful. There's a lot of like hard work day in and day out, that gets to that point.
I say that I think 2020 is a great time to be alive, and I think we should all be thankful and grateful regardless of the pandemic, because we have something that the people in 100 years ago pandemic didn't have, and it's called the internet. And we live in a global society. We could be selling real estate for people from, I don't know, China, wherever, buying real estate investments in Philadelphia or wherever you're licensed. And there's just so much opportunity. And I say, you know what? You don't need to do video, anything but your phone. And I bought a little Halo thing so I could just pick it up in there. Of course, I don't have my Halo with me now, but I put it in there. I put the thing on, and it doesn't cost any money except for whatever your phone costs. And the Halo, I think, cost me $30. But it doesn't cost anything, and you can make as much video as you want. You can just sit in your house and make videos all day long, and you can find tons of ideas, right? By going just, what are consumers looking for? Make video about stuff that isn't even real estate. This isn't about real estate. This is just about being a better human, being the solution, helping people. When you don't have the answer to the problem, you know what I say? Did you Google it first?
I mean, you're right. I mean, and it's tough, because the internet is there, but if you think about, most people, probably are wasting a lot of time on the internet, maybe similar to the television, where if you can reverse that somehow, and kind of be productive or kind of use it as a tool for your business or for self-development, in following people, like you or, other entrepreneurs or other, motivational, speakers. And, I saw something come up. It was like a YouTube video. It was like the most motivational video you'll ever see. And Gary Vee was one of the 5 people in there. And I'm like, that's the type of videos that, people could really, if they really want to grow, that's probably a little bit more important, than, some of the TikTok fun stuff. Now, there's nothing wrong with having fun, right? You got to have fun. You got to let loose and whatnot. But I think people just have to just be cognizant of their time. And then some people's digital media strategy, realtors or fill in the blank, is going on Facebook and Instagram and, commenting on a bunch of stuff that really doesn't mean anything. You ever go in those real estate mastermind groups? Some of the questions I'm like, is this really a mastermind question? And then there's 1,000 responses. And I'm like, I turn the notifications off very fast.
Yeah.
Very fast. I try not to have too many notifications on anything that I follow, come to my phone or the computer. One hit, while we're on, I turn that off, while we're, so I think people just have to be very protective, of their time and their mental energy and really channel it. I'm giving myself advice right now, by the way. This is advice to myself. And just really kind of channel it to, what means the most to you and your business.
Yeah, I agree, Chris. And, it's about really saying, okay, creating boundaries. It's not just about saying yes, but it's the things about that you say no to.
Correct. I was speaking with someone the other day, and I there's something to be said about the power of saying no. And it's kind of, I think it's a little easier this year because no one's really doing anything, but you have to kind of be protective, in your boundaries. Maybe it's like saying no to yourself, for, instead of doing 3 hours of internet surfing over nothing, maybe I'll do 30 minutes, instead of spending X amount of time on Facebook, YouTube, where it's just kind of fluff or regular television. Maybe I'll read, 10 or 20 pages of a book or get a little bit more exercise or channel a little bit more time into my business and really just be more strategic, with one's time. And I think once, again, if that's a little step, maybe that compounds, into something else, and then, be protective of who you surround yourself with too, right? You don't surround yourself with Debbie Downers.
Well, it's a little easier now since we're social distancing.
Yeah, it's easy, but you could still, you don't want to be speaking to Debbie Downers on the phone all day or whatnot.
It's tough because, sometimes there are clients too.
That's true. And that's okay.
And we're the psychologists too sometimes.
Yes, we are. And that's okay. Yeah. Like you had your introduction for your podcast, or Be the Solution, which is cool. For the Summers team, we have our mission statement, and we read it for every sales rally call that we have, which we have 3 a week. We have a monthly team meeting, but it starts to gain some camaraderie and unity. And I enjoy listening to the clients. I think it's more listening is an art, and showing empathy, and that could be the case with clients, friends or whatnot. Some people. I'm a pretty good psychiatrist. I kind of enjoy it. But that's part of our business though. That's part of the business. And I see some of these things on these real estate masterminds. I'm like, man, why are you even posting this? But anyway, I'm good at getting off topic.
I think some people post it just to get a reaction. Some of it's for a reaction, right? It's for look at me but that's okay. I just skip all that. I keep moving. I try not to spend too much time on. Actually, it's busy, so not a lot of time to be sitting around doing, surfing on Instagram or Facebook. I usually do it when I wake up at 4 a.m. and I don't want to be up yet.
Yeah, do your scroll then. Scroll through. Comment a few things, do a few likes, and all right, let's go.
Exactly. So, Chris, I want to ask you, what's going on with your projects?
Like our current real estate projects?
Yes, that you're representing. You want to talk a little bit about those? And give them
well, I mean, with the tax abatement changes and whatnot, like the demand in new construction has been, very heavy, as we're kind of promoting, even though the tax abatement got extended 1 year, it's probably the best time ever to buy a new construction home. There's not a lot of inventory. B, interest rates basically at zero. And three, this was the last year to take advantage of a true 10-year tax abatement, although that did get extended 1 year for another true 10-year tax abatement for 2021. And after that, our city council's nuts, with the exception of Alan Dunn, so, I was such a strong advocate to maintain, the true 10-year abatement, as president of GPAR last year, looking people in city council in the eye. I'm like, why do you want to change this, when, the market could start to shift or the economy could start to shift anytime? And look what happened. It shifted. Like, all right. So, they extended it a year. No, but, with a lot of our projects, a lot of things have sold this year pending. Some of our developer clients, like things got stalled, so projects are upcoming, in the future. So I'm happy to see that 10-year tax abatement will be the case for next year. I think it will help with development. I think it's great for home buyers. Not for nothing. I remember, being at the press conference at Kensington Courts at Frankfurt and Lehigh. I really like to use that as an example because a couple years ago, that was just a shithole. Excuse the language.
100%.
That's my one word for the day. If you could take the before and after now, like what an amazing transformation.
Amazing.
We're close to selling 80 or 90 single family homes over there. Now they're moving forward, to the apartment side. It would be commercial activity. And the transformation from A to B is just amazing. One of my best friends lives there. We help several people that I know. They live there. And then that obviously is paving the way for north of Lehigh, right? It's paving the way for Port Richmond. And that's like that wave of development. I mean, every area in Philadelphia has its own wave, but like Frankfurt Avenue crossing Lehigh, is phenomenal. And that's something that I really kind of get excited about. Like I was there at the press conference, and I guess Dom was there. I think Daryl Clark was there. Shovel ceremony, and then fast forward, it hasn't even been that long. Look at it now, and people think about, oh, it's only the millionaires buying $1 million condos getting a tax abatement. Well, not for nothing. There's not too many of them selling right now in Center City. But these, 300, 350, 400,000. Your first time home buyer is getting the tax abatement and that type of benefit to the city with all those people working and hopefully, obviously going to restaurants more when they open. I'm getting long answer to your question. Long answer. But that's what I get passionate about, is neighborhoods improving, people kind of like enjoying lifestyle, equity building that everyone else, that's around there. That's like, the beauty of that. So like why, city council wanted to tinker with the abatement still boggles my mind. But obviously from a political rhetoric standpoint, in the climate, they kind of like did what they had to do to appease constituents. But outside of that, development's going great. Stephanie and I, we're in the process of doing a couple of renovations in South Kensington. Norris Square, where we live. We just had a property in Port Richmond that we just finished the renovation. We'll lease that out. Yes, there'll be a very happy tenant, getting a beautiful property. So yeah, I think kind of to keep it moving, and investors, I think, have a little bit more opportunity now, even though dealing with the city can be a nightmare, but there always is opportunity for investors to, whether it's, invest for rentals, invest for development and so forth. You got me pumped up there. You got me pumped up. Maybe coffee. La Colombe coffee will do it to you too.
Yeah. La Colombe. I'm missing my La Colombe. I do love that project, and your clients there, the Riverwoods group, Mo and Larry, they did an amazing job.
Yeah, and then there's been so many more. Like Jim Moransky, just did his project Gotham. Not for sale, but a high luxury rental building at 2nd and Norris Street. And not for nothing, my wife and I, we live right around the corner. We moved from Northern Liberties to South Kensington because that's kind of, I like to be where the action is. I still love Northern Liberties. We own real estate there. But 2nd and Norris a couple years ago, a year ago, not much there. Drive by 2nd and Norris now and see Gotham, or just Google.
No, I've seen them. I watched the building go up because I, travel all across the city. And I saw some of the staging and everything they did. It looked like a great job.
Yeah, and then we have, other people, they like to be low profile, so I won't mention their names. They do a lot of like one new construction here, one there, or two there, but just sold 2 on the 2100 block of North Randolph Street. In the last week, they both went to settlement. The 2100 block of North Randolph Street, Google that if you can come up with a photo a year ago, and today, where there's new construction on there, there's people moving in, and that kind of is happening obviously all around areas, Point Breeze, maybe going to Grace Ferry, Brewery Town, and that area.
We just
I know you have a couple projects.
Sharswood,
so these areas are just improving year in and year out, due to people having the wherewithal, taking the risk, developing, connecting with great brokers like yourself, right, or the Summers team, to help, get projects sold, bring people to the community and so forth.
So I love the new construction projects. One of the things I think also that makes them very affordable is if they're in specific census areas, they get the CRA. They can get the CRA benefit and that financing, which is great. Which reduces, 0 PMI instead of doing FHA for these under $400,000 buyers, and then that makes their payment so much lower. And also, one of the things that came up this year is new construction, no germs.
Can you repeat that?
New construction, no germs.
I love that. Yeah, you're the first one in.
Right?
Yeah, it's exciting, and and that makes
pandemic free.
Yeah, and when I think about that, that makes me optimistic about 2021. We got think about how strong our United States economy is, and the people, and resilient. I know people are kind of going through some issues, but with Moderna, with Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, Novavax, there's other vaccines that are kind of like around the corner. There might be 4 or 5 approved vaccines that in that short period of time, where, the end is in sight. And not for nothing, Dr. Kara Summers, my oldest sister, been on the front lines for decades. I posted a photo of her, I saw the photo of her vaccine. And Maria, I just started crying, when I saw that. And, that's obviously paving the way, for us to kind of go to Mulherens or go to Soraya or go, to park, on a normal day where you can, sit inside and, people, are happy, and small businesses starting to, flourish again. Obviously that sentiment will help with real estate investment and so forth. Interest rates might be a little higher at that point. So, people who haven't bought a home now, and are on the fence. Well, you're never going to see interest rates at zero again. I like to say interest rates at zero because they're essentially at zero.
It's so low. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And we don't know. I don't think a year from now they're going to be at the rate that they are today. So
yeah, I mean, even if they're a point higher, I mean, it's still, insane. So, I think, especially in Philadelphia, maybe it's not like a V-shaped rebound, but, it should be a pretty strong inverted U. So we have a lot of opportunity ahead.
I think so. I think that the market will continue to stay overall strong. I think, it comes down to being price war in a beauty contest. I mean, the houses have to be, priced appropriately. Overpriced stuff is not going to sell. And regardless of the lack of inventory, people aren't going to overpay to overpay.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, I talk about it a lot. It's got to be, and you have to have the broker, needs to be honest with the people too, not just tell people what they want to hear to get a listing. So honesty with pricing, the product, needs to be awesome. And obviously, having Quattrone marketing or your Summers team or some marketing, that's the trifecta solution to get properties sold, or the buyers go into those properties, represent the buyer to get something sold too.
Yeah, we got to get that. You have to have activity to generate an offer 100%.
Correct.
So if you have all the marketing right and you have the showings and you don't have offers, then there's only one thing left to do.
Right. I mean, that's what Barbara Corcoran would say too, right?
Right. Chris, you've been great today. It's really great to see you. Tell Stephanie that I said hello. And thanks for all the work you did with GPAR last year. It's another whole job to take on, and top of a lot of responsibility that you already have. So thanks for giving back to our real estate community with that.
You're welcome. Thank you.
I'm missing our party this year, the GPAR party, all the parties actually.
Yes. The holiday time, sometimes the holiday parties can get, kind of like there's too many of them, but now like little Zoom activity. And then with GPAR, this is kind of funny, not to hold up the podcast, but I'm past president this year of GPAR, but the executive committee, the current president, Stephanie, is going to stay president in 2021, which means Chris Summers stays past president.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that worked out.
Yeah, so I'll be attending, some board directors meetings, but no, they're doing an amazing job, and PAR, huge, tremendous work. Shout out to them for doing what they needed to do when we had the shutdown, from Governor Wolf, and be huge advocates to help turn that around. And certainly the market was crazy as soon as the governor kind of got a little bit of clarity in his head.
10 weeks. 10 weeks it took them to get the clarity, but
yeah,
we continued, all of us here, just like you, to be the solution for the clients, and kept working during that whole time. So we have productive years. I thank you for your time today. I wish you and your family and your team a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year that is healthy, safe, and full of peace and love.
Happy holidays to you, Maria. Yes, like my team, we have 20-some people on our team. We don't have kids. We have our cats.
Yes.
I just lost one of my.
Yep. Oh.
But like our team is like our family too. So yeah, but that's the case with all of us. So I appreciate those sentiments, and thank you so much for having me on your Be the Solution.
Thank you, Chris. I appreciate it. Have a great one.
You too. Thank you. Namaste.
Namaste.